Ladies and gentlemen, imagine if there was a simple command, just a shift in the way you think and act, that could force large sums of money into your life. Not through luck, not through wishful thinking, but through the laws of mindset, focus, and intentional action. Today, I want to share with you that this command is not a secret locked away by the wealthy. It's a principle available to anyone who dares to embrace it. The command is this: I command abundance into my life, and I align my actions to receive it. Money does not flow where there is confusion, fear, or hesitation. Money flows where there is clarity, direction, and energy. When you command abundance, you are programming your mind to think beyond limits, to expect opportunities, and to take bold steps toward financial success. Think about it: every great entrepreneur, every visionary, every millionaire started with a single commanding belief that money would serve them and not enslave them. They decided, they commanded, and the universe, along with their actions, obeyed. This isn't magic, it's psychology. When you command abundance, your brain starts filtering opportunities, people, and ideas that align with wealth. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible starts to unfold. You notice doors that were always there, but now you have the courage to walk through them. So today, I want you to remember, large sums of money are not waiting for the chosen few. They are waiting for those who dare to command them. Speak it, believe it, act on it, and soon, you will watch your life transform in ways you never thought possible. The power of command is something most people underestimate, yet it is one of the most defining principles that separates those who live in financial struggle from those who attract large sums of money into their lives. When you think about the word command, it carries an energy of authority, certainty, and direction. It is not a request, not a wish, and not a weak hope. It is a statement that expects obedience. In the same way that a commander gives orders and expects them to be carried out without hesitation, the human mind, when given a strong command, begins to align itself with that very instruction. The truth is that money, like energy, flows toward clarity and confidence. If you live in doubt, if your thoughts about wealth are filled with hesitation, or if you constantly question whether you deserve abundance, you create resistance that pushes money away. On the other hand, when you issue a command to yourself and to your life that you will attract wealth, that you will create prosperity, and that you will open doors to financial success, everything within and around you starts shifting to fulfill that demand. Think about how most people speak about money. They say things like, "I hope I get a raise," or "maybe one day I'll have enough." These are not commands. These are weak requests that carry no authority. They leave the person at the mercy of chance. But when someone says, "I will multiply my income this year," or "I command money to flow into my life because I am ready and deserving," the energy changes. The tone shifts from a passive hope to an active direction. The subconscious mind, which governs habits, decisions, and emotional states, listens carefully to the words we repeat. A command delivered with conviction imprints itself on the subconscious, and once that imprint is made, actions, ideas, and opportunities begin to align with it. Science has shown us that the human brain has a filtering system known as the reticular activating system. This system decides what information gets noticed and what gets ignored. If you constantly think and speak commands of abundance, your brain starts filtering for opportunities, conversations, and resources related to wealth. It isn't that these opportunities suddenly appeared out of nowhere. They were always there, but without the command, your brain dismissed them as irrelevant. The power of command trains your mind to see what was previously invisible. This is why people who speak with certainty about their financial future often seem lucky. They are not lucky. They are simply commanding their mind to find what others overlook. Command also breaks the chains of fear. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles when it comes to money. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of taking risks. These emotions paralyze countless people and keep them stuck in scarcity. A command cuts through fear like a blade. When you give yourself an unshakable order, you no longer allow fear to dictate your behavior. You may still feel nervous, but the authority of your command overrides hesitation. For example, someone who commands themselves to double their business revenue will act differently than someone who merely hopes for it. The one who commands will make calls, create strategies, and take risks that align with that directive, because the order has been given and the mind will seek to fulfill it. The power of command is also evident in the way successful people carry themselves. Watch any wealthy individual and notice how they speak about their goals. They rarely speak in uncertain terms. They don't say, "I'll try to succeed." Instead, they say, "I will succeed," or "this will happen." Their confidence is not arrogance. It is the result of commanding their reality. This commanding energy creates a magnetic presence that draws people, deals, and money toward them. People trust certainty, and money flows where trust exists. If you want money to move toward you, you must speak with the same authority that attracts it. Finally, understand that command is not just about words, but also about energy. The way you think, the tone you use, the belief behind your words, of it communicates whether your command is weak or unshakable. A command backed with doubt will collapse, but a command backed with conviction will reshape your reality. Declaring abundance is a powerful starting point, but words alone are not enough if they are not followed by aligned actions that support the declaration. The universe responds not only to what we say, but to what we do, and money especially requires movement, structure, and consistency to flow toward us. Many people fall into the trap of affirming wealth and commanding prosperity into their lives, but then their actions contradict their words. They say they want financial growth, but continue to procrastinate, avoid risks, or spend recklessly. This disconnect between declaration and behavior creates a gap where abundance cannot manifest. When you truly declare abundance, it is like planting a seed, and aligned actions are the water, sunlight, and care that make that seed grow into something tangible. Without action, the declaration withers and loses its power. Aligned action means that every step you take moves in harmony with the wealth you are calling into your life. If you declare, "I attract large sums of money," then your choices should reflect discipline, courage, and readiness to handle large sums of money. For example, someone who commands abundance but avoids learning about financial literacy, investment strategies, or money management is out of alignment. On the other hand, when a person not only declares abundance, but also commits to growing their skills, expanding their network, and taking bold steps toward opportunity, their actions amplify their command. This alignment sends a strong message to both the subconscious mind and the external world that you are serious about your declaration. Think of it like electricity. A command is like switching the power on, but aligned actions are the wires that allow the energy to flow to its destination. If the wiring is broken or incomplete, no matter how much power is available, nothing will light up. In the same way, a powerful declaration without supporting actions leaves your financial potential disconnected. Aligning actions creates the channel through which prosperity can move into your reality. Even small, consistent steps, such as saving money, investing wisely, or taking calculated risks in business, strengthen this channel and keep it open. When you align actions with abundance, you also shift your identity. You'll no longer see yourself as someone who wishes for money, but as someone who naturally attracts it. Through your behavior and discipline, for instance, waking up earlier to work on a side business, setting aside time for learning new income skills, or refusing to waste money on things that do not add value are simple, but powerful signals that you are living in alignment with wealth. This shift in identity is crucial because money flows to those who act as though they already belong in abundance. Acting wealthy does not mean spending recklessly to look rich. It means behaving responsibly, confidently, and strategically as someone who knows how to create and handle wealth. Aligned action also builds momentum. And momentum is one of the most overlooked forces in wealth creation. The moment you take one action toward your declaration, opportunities begin to show themselves. Taking the next step becomes easier, and soon you are in a rhythm where action compounds into results. For example, starting with a simple command to increase your income may push you to research freelance work, which then connects you with clients, which then grows into a full business. Without the initial action, none of these opportunities would have surfaced. The declaration provided the spark, but the aligned actions turned that spark into a fire. Money does not respond to passivity. It responds to clarity, direction, and proof that you are ready to receive it. Every aligned action you take is proof that you are not merely hoping for abundance, you are demanding it through your deeds. And just as a river flows where channels are carved, wealth flows into the lives of those who create pathways through consistent, purposeful action. Reprogramming the mind is one of the most crucial elements in commanding large sums of money into your life because the mind is the source of every belief, decision, and action you take. The truth is that most people's financial struggles are not caused by a lack of opportunities, but by the programming they carry within them. From childhood, many are taught that money is scarce, that it is hard to earn, or that wanting wealth is greedy. These beliefs sink into the subconscious and operate like invisible rules that govern behavior. If someone has been programmed to believe that money is difficult to obtain, they will unconsciously sabotage opportunities that could bring wealth, because deep down they don't believe they are capable of achieving it. Reprogramming the mind replaces these limiting beliefs with new empowering ones that align with abundance. And once the mind is reshaped, the outer world begins to follow. The subconscious mind does not judge whether a belief is true or false. It simply accepts what is repeated and reinforced. If you constantly think and say things like, "I can't afford this," or "money always slips through my hands," your subconscious builds that into your reality. It looks for ways to make that belief consistent, and your actions begin to match it. But if you reprogram your mind with thoughts such as "I always attract opportunities to grow my wealth," or "money flows to me because I am valuable and capable," then the subconscious adopts those ideas as reality. Once it does, your behaviors begin to shift, and suddenly you notice new opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. This is the reason why wealthy people often emphasize the importance of mindset. They understand that the mind must first be conditioned for success before the body and environment can follow. Reprogramming the mind requires repetition, visualization, and emotional intensity. The more you expose your subconscious to positive financial commands, the deeper they take root. For instance, daily affirmations spoken with conviction are not just empty words. They are commands that rewire neural pathways in the brain. Visualization works in the same way. When you imagine yourself already living in abundance, your brain cannot fully distinguish between the imagined scenario and reality. So it begins to prepare your body and decisions as though it were true. Over time, these mental exercises reshape your identity, and once your identity shifts to match abundance, your actions follow naturally. You no longer chase money out of desperation. Instead, you attract it because you see yourself as someone who is already wealthy in mindset. Another important aspect of reprogramming the mind is awareness. You must first become aware of the negative beliefs that control you. Many people live their whole lives without realizing that their financial ceiling was created not by the economy, not by their environment, but by the beliefs they absorbed unconsciously. Awareness allows you to catch yourself when you fall into old patterns of thought. For example, when you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford this," you can replace it with, "How can I create the money for this?" That simple shift reprograms the mind to seek solutions instead of accepting limitations. The brain is like a search engine. It will provide answers to whatever question you feed it. Asking abundant questions creates abundant results. Reprogramming also means surrounding yourself with influences that support your new beliefs. Books, mentors, communities, and environments all play a role in shaping the subconscious. If you spend time around people who constantly complain about money, their energy reinforces scarcity in your mind. But if you spend time learning from those who think big, who discuss investments, ideas, and growth, your mind adapts to their level. The subconscious is highly impressionable, and the company you keep programs your reality more than you realize. The process of reprogramming is not instant, but it is powerful and permanent once embedded. It works slowly, like water shaping a stone, but every repetition, every visualization, and every shift in language rewires the mind for abundance. When the mind is reprogrammed to see money as abundant, to expect wealth, and to act in ways that attract prosperity, external circumstances begin to rearrange themselves to match that internal state. Shifting from scarcity to abundance is a transformation that takes place first in the mind and then in every part of life. Scarcity is not just about lacking money. It is a mindset that constantly focuses on what is missing, what is difficult, and what cannot be done. People who live with scarcity thinking always see limitations. They say things like "there's never enough," "life is unfair," or "only lucky people succeed." This mindset creates a cycle where opportunities are ignored, risks are avoided, and fear becomes the main driver of decisions. Scarcity makes a person cling to the little they have, too afraid to step forward, and in that fear they block the flow of money and abundance. On the other hand, an abundance mindset is about focusing on possibilities, solutions, and growth. It doesn't deny challenges, but it sees them as stepping stones instead of roadblocks. People with an abundance mindset believe that wealth is not fixed or limited. It can be created, expanded, and multiplied through ideas, effort, and belief. The scarcity mindset often comes from upbringing, environment, and repeated experiences of struggle. A child who constantly hears parents argue about bills or complain about not having enough money begins to absorb that pattern as truth. They grow up believing money is always hard to get, and without reprogramming, they repeat the same cycle. In adulthood, abundance thinking, however, breaks this inherited cycle. It acknowledges that while scarcity may have shaped the past, it doesn't have to define the future. By choosing to see the world through the lens of abundance, a person opens themselves to opportunities that others overlook. For example, two people might face the same financial setback. One with scarcity thinking sees it as proof that they will never succeed, while the one with an abundance mindset sees it as a lesson and a chance to rebuild stronger. Scarcity is rooted in fear, while abundance is rooted in trust. Fear tells you to hold tightly to what you have, to avoid risk, and to settle for less. Trust tells you that more is always possible, that opportunities can be created, and that taking bold action can lead to growth. When you shift from scarcity to abundance, you begin to replace fear-driven decisions with choices based on faith in possibility. This shift changes the way you approach work, relationships, and even daily habits. For instance, a scarcity-driven person might avoid networking because they believe others will outcompete them, while someone with abundance thinking will network with excitement, knowing that collaboration can expand opportunities for everyone. Another difference between scarcity and abundance is how each handles money itself. Scarcity-thinking people see money as something that must be hoarded, and even when they have enough, they live in constant worry of losing it. This constant fear of loss often keeps them trapped in survival mode. People with an abundance mindset, however, view money as a tool, a resource meant to grow, move, and create more value. They are willing to invest in themselves, in opportunities, and in ideas because they trust that more money will flow back to them. This is why abundant thinkers often build wealth faster. They are not paralyzed by fear, but empowered by possibility. Shifting into abundance also changes language. The words people use reveal their mindset. Scarcity thinkers say, I can't afford this, while abundance thinkers say, how can I afford this? Scarcity says, there are no opportunities, while abundance asks, where can I create an opportunity? These small shifts in language reshape thought patterns, and over time, they create new habits that align with wealth. The shift may start with simple affirmations, daily gratitude practices, or replacing negative self-talk, but each step reinforces the abundant state of mind. Living in abundance also means celebrating the success of others, rather than feeling threatened by it. Scarcity makes people jealous when others succeed because they believe wealth is limited and someone else's gain means their loss. Abundance understands that wealth is infinite and another person's success is proof of what is possible. This way of thinking removes bitterness and replaces it with inspiration, which naturally attracts more opportunities. By celebrating others, a person aligns themselves with the same energy of success they admire, making it easier for them to experience it as well. The most profound part of shifting from scarcity to abundance is that it changes not only how you see money but how you see yourself. Scarcity convinces you that you are powerless, limited, and undeserving, while abundance reminds you that you are capable, resourceful, and worthy of more. Once you adopt abundance as your dominant mindset, you begin to take actions, build habits, and attract situations that prove it true. Wealth is a decision, not a chance, and this simple truth explains why some people move steadily toward financial success, while others wait endlessly for luck that never arrives. Too often, people look at the wealthy and assume they were simply in the right place at the right time, or that fortune smiled upon them randomly. In reality, behind nearly every financial breakthrough lies a decision. A moment when someone chose to think differently, act boldly, and commit to a course of action that others were too hesitant to take. The decision to create wealth is a declaration of control, an acknowledgement that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but rather the architect of your own financial future. This decision does not mean that challenges disappear or that success happens overnight, but it sets into motion a mindset and a series of actions that make wealth inevitable rather than accidental. When a person decides to pursue wealth, they start to view opportunities through a new lens. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to stop, they interpret them as problems waiting for solutions. This shift creates an internal drive to explore, innovate, and take risks that others avoid. For example, two people might see the same business idea. One dismisses it as too risky, while the other decides it could be the key to financial growth. The difference is not the opportunity itself, but the decision each made about what role they will play. Wealth is not distributed by chance to those who wait. It is created by those who decide to act when opportunities arise. This decision also transforms how a person spends time. Time is one of the most valuable assets in wealth creation, and those who decide on abundance treat it differently. They reduce distractions, they prioritize learning, and they dedicate hours to building something that will compound over time. People waiting for chance waste energy on things that bring no return, while people who decide on wealth use their time to sharpen skills, grow networks, and pursue ventures. Over the years, these small but intentional uses of time multiply into large sums of money. It is not luck that builds this compounding effect. It is the original decision to value time as the currency of future wealth. Another element of this decision is resilience. Choosing wealth means you accept that setbacks will come, but you also decide that failure will not define you. People waiting for luck give up quickly when things don't go their way, believing it was never meant to be. Those who have decided on wealth use setbacks as lessons, adjusting their strategies and trying again with greater wisdom. This resilience ensures that temporary failures become stepping stones rather than dead ends. Every wealthy individual has faced obstacles, but their decision kept them moving until success became inevitable. Making the decision for wealth also attracts resources and support. People are naturally drawn to certainty, And when you commit fully to your financial path, others sense it and want to be part of it. Investors, partners, mentors, and collaborators align themselves with someone who has made a clear decision, because clarity is magnetic. On the other hand, those who waver, hesitate, or hope that wealth will arrive by chance fail to inspire confidence in others. The firmness of your decision creates momentum not only within yourself, but also in your environment. Wealth, as a decision, also reshapes identity. You stop identifying as someone who merely survives or struggles and begin to see yourself as a creator of abundance. This shift in identity dictates how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you interact with opportunities. People who decide to be wealthy begin acting in ways that align with that future, and over time, those actions carve out the path to prosperity. It is not about pretending to be wealthy before you are, but about embodying the discipline, the confidence, and the mindset of someone who is on their way to abundance. The most powerful truth is that this decision is available to anyone, regardless of background or current circumstances. It does not require a windfall, an inheritance, or a perfect economy. It requires clarity, commitment, and the willingness to back your decision with aligned actions. Wealth is not a gift of chance. It is the natural result of a decision that is honored daily through mindset, discipline, and persistence.